Welcome to another RES Wave update. So in this video, I'm going to discuss what I've been predicting in my last 20 videos, minus the last maybe 3, 4. I can't even keep count anymore. I tried to form a bullish view, right? But when you do that, that's a sign that, hey, you're trying to conform to something that is going on in the wider market. Like, for example, when we talk about altcoins, they don't all respect Bitcoin. They don't, right? If you look at XLM and BTC, Bitcoin topped out in 2017 earlier than XLM did. Okay? Whether it was a few weeks or a month or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The point is that they don't follow each other exactly. So therefore, there's no point trying to, use them as correlations. Look, all patterns on each chart, they're all individual. They don't follow the same pattern. Otherwise, you'd look at every Bitcoin and every Cardano chart and every other coin and you'd see the same pattern, but it's not true, right? My initial thesis on Bitcoin was that we are in a B wave. Okay. Now, what is a B wave? Okay, so first you got to identify where wave 1 is. So we did that long ago. If you go back through my videos, I went through all these different waves and labeled them all up nicely, and then we came to the point where we had to understand what this means. Okay, that's an A wave. It's a zigzag. Okay. And I hate going back on my analysis. I hate doing it, but I've learned valuable lessons lately where you have to stick to the script. You have to ignore the hype. You have to ignore Michael Saylor, right? Right now, he's probably eating the fucking sails off his ship in his background on the videos that he always does, right? Either that or he's probably calling up a bunch of people who have no idea what they're talking about as well and getting some bias confirmation, because seriously, it's not necessary, right? It's not necessary to look at a market and just think, hey, this is going up forever because I'm the best. I am successful millionaire who's been CEO, the longest CEO of a tech company for forever. Like, I'm the best man in the world. I know what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay, so just because you were good at, making programs for companies and helping them with strategies and, you know, all that stuff, right? That doesn't mean that you're good at markets. That doesn't mean you're an expert at the waves, right? That does not mean that. That just means that you have the money and the influence. Okay? But easy come, easy go. You could be an influencer. And I have seen plenty of people who are in high status paying jobs who are pretty big influencers fall from grace. Okay. Now, right here, I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. Right? I can be wrong many times. And if I'm wrong again, I'll tell you. Right? But my $200,000 projection for this coin was based on trying to make the most bullish case possible, even going so deep as to try to convince myself that my original analysis was wrong and everyone else is right. Well, look what happened, right? Now, I don't do long, short trade ideas on Bitcoin. I used to try to, but I got away from that because I found that there was something underlying going on, and I thought, you know what, leave cryptos alone. And then I decided to go the opposite. I delved right into all the altcoins and all the charts, and I started to realize that, hey, every single coin has its own pattern. So that means that it doesn't really matter what Bitcoin does because all the other charts have their own patterns. And if you understand what RES wave is, that means that every single pattern has an objective. Every A wave has an objective, every B wave has an objective, C, D, E, right? Now, there will be a correction in Bitcoin, right? We've only seen A, B. There will be a C, D, E. I don't know how that's going to unfold, right? And I've said this before and I'll say it again, right? This could happen like C, D, E, right? Or you could start forming some kind of triangle shape, which would look like a massive C down, right? And then a D up, and an E. And then God knows where this thing could go. So I'm not a perma bear. I'm not a perma bear. So don't think that I am, because I'm not. I'm merely using a framework in which can help me identify the waves as they happen, using certain levels to determine whether or not a move will continue to the upside or whether they will continue to the downside. Right? Now, if you go back through my videos, you will see, right? Now, I'm going to zoom in on this one. Let's go to the hourly. Okay. I did say if we broke this level many times, 42,000, 43, 42, I don't know what chart you're looking at. If we broke this level, then my 1, 2, 3 idea is invalidated. I've said it before, right? But if we break that level, that means that this whole idea is wrong. And then I have to go back and reassess what I thought was, an expanded D wave, which, to be honest with you, I had my doubts. It was way too sharp to be that kind of thing, right? I mean, it looks like 5 waves up, but when you get that pressure, you get that it's not FOMO, but it's FOMO for the correct analysis. Fear of missing out on the correct analysis, right? That should be my new acronym. FOMO TCA, right? So I believe that I was right, and I second guessed myself, and now I'm paying the price. I made a video where I said Bitcoin's going to 200,000 because I didn't really understand a lot of things that I've learned recently, especially from one of my followers now, my members of RES Wave, who started explaining all this stuff to me, which, to be honest with you, I'm still going through it. I'm still learning about that side of things, right? So even though it doesn't directly pertain to the waves, it explains how markets, how the altcoins relate to BTC, right? And to me, that's a whole new ball game. And once I figure it out, I'm going to try and incorporate it into RES Wave, and that's why it pays to be a member, because this is a community that's going to grow. I don't want haters. I don't want trolls. I want people with insights. I want people who are going to teach me something, because I don't know everything. But at the same time, in exchange, I'm going to give them all the hard work that I've done over the last 6 years, 7 years, right? That will help them. So it'll basically cause a synergistic effect, right? Like I had another member who wanted to sign up because they like to trade shares, right? Individual stocks, but they were just looking for a wave system that could help them sort of assist them with their own analysis. So I found that to be quite inspiring. I think that's great. So that opened my mind up to thinking, yeah, you know what? There's probably a lot of there's a lot of underlying things that you should know that you don't know. So even though in hindsight I was right in the beginning, I second guessed myself. But that's fine because BTC to me doesn't mean much, right? To me, my main focus at the moment is XLM. So I only make this video because I like to admit when I'm wrong, right? Even though I was right and then I was wrong, and now look what we're seeing. We're seeing BTC crash in a C wave. So this is a C wave, by the way. So at least we know what we're looking at. So like I explained earlier, is it going to be a CDE pattern? Is it going to be a triangle CDE pattern? I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I do have a framework, and you can follow the waves to the point where you can make that assumption, the assumption that you're wrong, right? And I think that's one of the most important assumptions that you can make is knowing how wrong you are, right? It goes back to the 4 stages of competence. Knowing that you don't know to the point where you know what you do know and it works for you. And obviously all the stages in between. So first you got to figure out what you don't know, and then you realize that you're good at what you do know. There's 4 stages to that. So look that up because it can help you in case you have biases in that, because confirmation biases are usually driven by social interaction. So, and also by listening to other people, the media, the hype, the FOMO, whatever. So right now, people are probably wondering, okay, I bought Bitcoin at $60,000 because Michael Saylor said that this is something you should buy. But we're talking about a person who has millions of dollars, is in it for the long run, and if you ask them, would you? And I've heard an interviewer ask this guy, so if Bitcoin fell, wouldn't you sell and then rebuy it when it's cheaper? And he goes, no, I love my assets. I don't sell my things, right? And mind you, this guy has the website called hope.com. And he decided to link hope.com with Bitcoin because he calls Bitcoin hope. So to me, like the first thing I thought is like, what the hell? Hope is not a strategy. If you know what I mean. Like when it comes to like technical analysis and the waves and that, hope is not a strategy. It is literally the opposite. Okay, it's emotion. Hope is an emotion. So by using the framework, I tried my best to make this as bullish as possible for people. But I did give you a solid line where I could be wrong, because I knew in the bottom of my heart, I knew that if I was going to be wrong, I had to have somewhere where I could say I was wrong. And look what happened. We broke that level and it started to get sharper. So I'm calling this 1-2 of a C wave. So this C wave is not going to be a small C wave. And you know why? Because the B wave was so expanded. Okay. So because the B wave was so expanded, I believe this C wave will propel altcoins to where they're going. So if in the case of XLM, for those that don't believe that it could go to $55, well, that means that somebody has to be putting money into it. So where would that money come from? Well, if people are selling out of Bitcoin right now, where are they going to be putting money? Probably into the altcoins, if I'm not mistaken, because I'm pretty sure they don't want to put it into stocks. Stocks are pretty crappy at the moment. Like, I mean, you know the whole story. Like, I could rant on forever. In fact, I'm going to do a live stream again. I'm going to do another live stream very soon. I don't know when just yet because I'm very busy, so I have prior commitments. But I do want people to start commenting that they want to see a live stream. The more I get that I want to see a live stream comment, I will make time for it. I definitely will make time for it because I have managed to clean out my whiteboard. I found a product that cleaned it up, right? My whiteboard being my wardrobe door, by the way. I mean, I could use a Zoom whiteboard. I could buy a whiteboard, but I'm a practical kind of guy. If I can see something that works, why don't you just use it? Why do you have to go find something else that, you know, you think does the job, but there are many other things that can do the job too. Anyway, not getting into that right now. So Bitcoin is moving down. It's a wave C. Okay, so let me just illustrate by putting a label somewhere in the middle. Let me meet you halfway. Let's say C wave goes down here. Okay, let's not get too crazy with levels because I really don't want to tell you some of the things that I'm thinking because people probably won't accept that right now, right? So we need evidence. The evidence will, the proof will be in the pudding to where this is all going. Okay, so let's not go there right now. We're going to see, I reckon, if we had to draw a parallel channel between A in a straight line and the top of B, which is around here somewhere. Okay. Now that midpoint, you can see that there's a lot of resistance around that midpoint. Okay. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a correction down to about 14,000. Wouldn't be surprised at all. That'll pump altcoins like there's no tomorrow. But that won't be the end of this correction. Remember, we are in a wave 2 correction of Bitcoin. So somewhere down the line, we have to see, right, a D and an E. Now, I can't tell you how that's going to pan out, but somehow we're going to find out. And it's called time. Time reveals everything. Time is what it took to create RES Wave. It took 6 years. A lot of hard work, trust me. Countless hours. In fact, like I've mentioned before, my whole relationship broke down. Thank God I got 2 children out of that relationship because they are my life. But when you focus on something so much, you find answers. Believe me, you put your mind to something, you can achieve it. It's a cliche type of thing to say, but by God, it's the truth. If you ask anybody who's successful, they failed probably 10 million times before they actually succeeded. But when they succeeded, it paid off. So, do I think that Bitcoin falling is going to affect XLM to the point where it crashes to zero or to some crazy number like 38 cents? No, no, because every single chart has its own pattern. It has to achieve its own objective. And these patterns are driven by human psychology. So you can't, like, Bitcoin does not control how people think about XLM. Bitcoin does not control how people think about XRP, right? Bitcoin does not control how people feel about Ethereum, Litecoin, Tron, or any of these other myriad of coins. It doesn't control